Anywho, I want to start out by saying I am a mom of 3. 2 of my boys are autistic. Both births were normal. Had a little complications, but it wasn't like big complications. Matthew's was, I had very swollen legs and feet. They thought I had preeclampsia a number of times, so I was tested multiple times for preeclampsia. Always came back negative. With my 3rd child, Aiden, he was a surprise baby. I found out I was pregnant with him while I was on birth control. And he came... Aiden was born 12 months and 2 weeks after Matthew. Matthew was what we thought a normal baby. We also have an older one. He was 2 years apart from Matthew, which was planned. It was not planned, but sorry, I had a little pause there. Got a phone call. But let me get back to my boys. Matthew was normal. He crawled at the right time. He sat up on the right time. He started solids. I breastfed him. A lot of people ask me, oh, do you think it was vaccines and this and that? And honestly, I don't. Looking back now, I watch videos and clips and look at pictures, and I remember he always had sensory issues. I just dealt with them because I'm a mom, and when you have a newborn baby, you just kind of roll with the punches, take it one day at a time. So I didn't really think too much into that. It wasn't until he was about a little after a year, his tantrums started getting worse. We noticed he wouldn't ask for things. He jibber jabbered a lot. No words came out. He used to say mama, daddy. He used to wave hello. It was a little after that year, he stopped talking completely, no words at all. He would start spacing out. He would get lost in La La Land. And we didn't know how to take it. We just thought, oh, maybe he's just our quiet one, you know, because our oldest just talked a lot. And it was kind of like a break. We were like, oh, okay, whatever. He's just really quiet. Whatever. Time went on. His tantrums became self-harming. He started biting himself, hitting his head on things, throwing himself on the floor, and like getting scrapes and bruises and knots in his head. And it was just becoming way too much. And we just moved to California. We just got him set up with the doctor. Our family is military, so we do move every few years. And we just moved to California. We were originally from California, but we just moved back from Arkansas. And out in Arkansas, doctors thought maybe he was just quiet, you know. And we came here, and I guess autism was like a thing out here, a big thing out here. And we got him tested. It was like a 2-hour thing. Took forever. I remember I had to sit in the room because he wouldn't let me out of his sight. But I had to sit there very quiet. He did not like the person who did the test. After he got diagnosed with autism on the spectrum, we then got him started with therapy, ABA therapy. ABA would work with him here and there. he would try talking, but it came out as, I don't know if anybody's ever heard a deaf person try to talk, but that's what it sounded like when he tried to talk. And so we thought, oh, maybe he has a hearing problem. Let's try that. We still knew he was autistic. He still had those other traits, like, you know. So we figured, oh, maybe his speech delay is because he can't hear. And Dad had a history of drains in his ears. So why not try it out? So we took him. He didn't like the tests. He got 2 different tests done. He got a regular one, which is the headphone one, where they put you in a sound room and they see if they react to the sound on each side. He passed that one, but we still thought there had to be something wrong with his ears. So we took him to a specialist that did a newborn hearing test. That one, he did not like having the machine in his ear. And when he was born, he passed the hearing test. So we kind of just checked those off the list, and you know, it happens. There's nonverbal kids out there. So we started learning sign language. He did really good with sign language. We put him in speech. His first speech therapist, though, kind of ruined him a little. He had really bad PTSD after her. She was very impatient with him, very aggressive. When having him hand her pecs, she would like grab his arm and, you know, fight him to get him to do what she wanted him to do instead of like teaching him. And I wouldn't be in the room, but I could hear him screaming, and then they would ask me to come in the room because they thought, oh, well, maybe he just wants mom in the room. So I would sit in the room and I would see this happening, and I didn't like it. So it made me very uncomfortable, and I knew nothing about autism. I'm telling you this right now. When I found out he was autistic, right away you start, oh my God, how did he get this way? What did I do? Did I not like do the right things when he was born? Did I not take care of myself good enough when I was pregnant? You know, you start blaming yourself right away. And I started researching, and when I researched, I would find only the worst videos of kids who are autistic, kids that would break windows and throw things, therapists with broken nose, busted lips, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm gonna have to like get used to. Like, what am I gonna do? I am like not ready for that at all. And it hurt me. It hurt me a lot, thinking that, you know, I always dreamt of having grandkids and, you know, going to weddings and everything a mom dreams of when she has kids, whether it's a boy or a girl. We lived right next door to a family who had a boy who was autistic and had seizures, and he was the sweetest thing ever. I clicked with him so fast, and it scared me, but then in another way, you know, Matthew had this way of just loving you that just made you feel just happy when you were sad, you know. So I just right away just had faith. I was just like, you know what? It happens for a reason. I just gotta bite the bullet and just figure it out. And so, after that speech therapist, we kind of dropped it. We took him out of speech. I didn't know what to do. I was afraid of putting him in another place that would be horrible, because after that lady ruined him, he started acting out with his therapist. Sorry. There might be a lot of breaks in this video because I have to keep stopping and tending to them. Okay, so his aggression from the speech therapist caused him to act out with his ABA therapist. And so we took a break from speech until we could get him to trust people again, because he really did not trust nobody no more. he was afraid of people coming in and out, and he had a really bad anxiety of people leaving. He's never been left alone. He's never ever gone through that. He's always been by my side or with Dad, and he would have this anxiety. Like, he would cry like we just killed his best friend. Like, it was bad. So at first it was intimidating, very scary. Trying to figure out how to do this. I was learning a lot. I knew nothing about this at all. Nothing. I honestly thought I'd be horrible at this. Really bad at this. He started getting better. By 3 years old, was it 3? Maybe 4. 3. Let's say it's 3. By 3 years old, his brother, the littlest one, Eden, he started acting out too, and started picking up some things that Matthew would do, Eden would do, and then we thought, oh man, you know, Aiden's mimicking Matthew. He won't talk. He doesn't like to be held. He doesn't like to be touched. He doesn't like people laying with him. He doesn't like to be played with. Like, we thought he was just copying what his older brother was doing, which is usually how it goes, right? You do what your other brother did. See, but Isaiah, our oldest, was normal. He had no learning disabilities. He had his only problem is he just talked too much, which is still true. But we didn't know, and their aunt was going through learning about autism and taking classes, and she kept telling me, like, I think Aiden is autistic. I think you should get him tested. And I was in denial. I was in straight denial because I was like, there's no way. I have 2 boys who are autistic. Like, there's no way. Like, how does that even happen? And we got him tested. He's very autistic. He's very atypical. It's really hard for him to like people that new people he don't know. He doesn't know. I'm gonna correct myself there. It was hard, very hard. Once again, blaming myself. What the heck happened? Like, how in the world did I have 2 back-to-back autistic kids? Like, you know, I started researching and thinking, and I kept saying, oh, it must have been the birth control. The birth control I was on when I got pregnant, something messed with something, and this and that. And when he was born, he was about 6 weeks old when we came to California. He was really sick. Doctors in Arkansas would just say, it's gas, just put him on his tummy, he's fine. I would take him back and forth, you know, he's spitting up, he's not eating, his tummy's bloated, like there's something wrong. And they would just tell me, change his formula, try breastfeeding. And no matter what I did, he could not keep nothing down. Nothing. And we had to come to California for a court date. Not enough time for this video. And we got here right away. Everybody was like, what's wrong with Aiden? Why does he look like that? And I'll have to insert a picture right here. I don't know how to do how people do it like on the screen yet. So I'll probably just pause. Here's a picture. Hi guys, my name is Raina. I had an idea of making a YouTube channel to give other parents an idea of what I went through, and future parents of diagnosed autistic kids. We have quite a story. This video is just gonna be basically me introducing us, giving you a little summary of our life, how we started and whatnot. This video is gonna be very scattered. I wrote down a few things, but I might forget some stuff. So we did that. We came to California. He was sick. We took him to the emergency room. Being a military family, TRICARE works everywhere as long as it's an emergency. Even though we were part of the South region of TRICARE, we were able to take him to the emergency room, and as long as the emergency room refers him to other specialists, it works. And they did an ultrasound. In the ultrasound, his entire abdomen was full of fluid. He looked like a pregnant baby. His eyes were sunk in. He just, within a day's time, he just looked so bad, like so bad, and we didn't know what to do. Matthew was going through his tantrum phase. We didn't know where to leave him. We had to leave Matthew and Isaiah with Grandma and my sister-in-law, and we had to rush Aiden to the hospital. From the emergency room, they transferred him to a children's hospital. At the children's hospital, they right away asked me to sign papers to sedate him, because he wouldn't stop moving. He wouldn't let them draw blood. He wouldn't let them look at his tummy. It was hard. It's Matthew. Say hi. Say hi. Nope, that's my pen. Thank you. So my only experience with sedating and being intubated. What, baby? No, thank you. Always ended bad. Everybody I've known that has been intubated and sedated never came back, and I was worried that it was going to happen to him and I was going to lose him. He was only 6 weeks old. This is a sensitive subject, but I'm trying to be real for this YouTube channel. Pause. Come back. So, after I had my anxiety attack at the hospital, they got me to agree to it because it was the only chance he had. And they let me hold him for the last time until he was off machines. Because if they were going to sedate a baby, they were going to intubate him. Shortly after they intubated him, his left lung, I think it was, collapsed. The ascites, the fluid in his abdomen, got too much that it started putting pressure on his lungs. So, thank God. I'm glad I finally agreed to it. Sorry about the noise in the background. Can't really help it. So he was intubated. He was in the hospital for 3 months. The longest 3 months of my life. My husband was still supposed to return back to work in Arkansas. Obviously, we weren't able to. They tried to get Aiden transferred to the Children's Hospital in Arkansas. But the doctor here urged us to keep him where he was because the chances of him surviving a ride, a helicopter, airplane, whatever it was, to Arkansas, the outcome probably wouldn't have been good. Also, Arkansas, I'm not going to say the name, place out there told us that it was gas. They wouldn't look into it. They refused to look more into it because he was a newborn baby, and they swore I was just being over dramatic. So I didn't want him to go back there. I didn't want to go back there with him because I was afraid of them not trying, not trying hard enough to fix him, to let him come home. But the doctors at UC Davis Children's Hospital in Sacramento, freaking amazing. They are amazing. I can't even explain. The nurses, the doctors, the staff, everybody. They were amazing. So supportive. We couldn't have gotten through it without them, honestly. Like, it was so hard. And they were just awesome. We didn't know much about the Ronald McDonald House at the time, and we were back and forth between cities because our boys were still at grandma's house. We couldn't just leave them for 3 months, so twice a week, depending on how Aiden was doing, we would drive back home, visit with the boys for a day, spend the night there, and then drive back first thing in the morning to be with Aiden. I had this anxiety of leaving him and getting a phone call in the middle of the night. So even if I left him and I came home to my other two, the entire time I was checking my phone. Every time it rang, I was jumping for my phone. Every time anything happened, I couldn't sleep. Eating was horrible. There was a point where I had to sign papers. Sign papers saying if anything happened to him, I would donate his body to the hospital so that they could look into the issue of what was going on in his body, That was hard because you only want to hear the good when something's wrong with your kids, and when they're in the hospital, all you can think of is, are they even gonna come home? Like, oh my God. Try and keep this as real as possible. This is hard. There was a time where I told my husband that I wouldn't be able to go home without him. How was I gonna walk into a house with his crib and his toys? Like, I couldn't do it. There's no way possible. And I was mentally preparing myself for the worst because I always assume the worst so that when the best thing happens, I can be so thankful, So that traumatic experience happened. He obviously is better. He's 4 years old now. He went through blood transfusions. I could go more into it in a different video. This is just too much for me right now. I will never get through this video if I don't just move on. So Aiden came out of the hospital. He was let's see, March, April, May, June, July, 4 or 5 months old when he got out. This kid's a freaking survivor. That's all I'm gonna say. He's been through a lot. So they warned us that he would be delayed a little bit. He was on a breathing machine for a while. The 2-3 months he was on the machine, that's his brain. He's not developing. He's not developing while he's sedated. I mean, who can learn while they're sleeping? If that was the case, you know, I would sleep forever. But so when it came to, back to his diagnosis, when it came to him not talking and everything, I swore, you know, this was part of the delay. I'll give him some time, you know, he can't be autistic. Not that I had anything against autistic kids, because Matthew at this time was thriving in his therapy. He was doing so good. It's him laughing in the background. He's watching Curious George. So time went on. 3-4 months before his 3rd birthday, I gave up. I gave in. I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I mean, if he's autistic, we've been through the steps. We know what to do. We already have great therapists. Like, so, we got Aiden diagnosed. He was autistic. It was not by the same person, different hospitals. He was already 3 years old when we started. He's 4 now. He still doesn't talk. He does like to sing. He will tell you what song to sing. He will clap it. He will hum it. Whatever he has to do, he will tell you what song he wants to hear, and you got to sing it. Like, that's how it is with him. Having 2 autistic kids, we deal with routines. We deal with tons of tantrums. It's horrible. Things breaking, doors breaking, windows breaking. We go to grocery stores. Grocery shopping is, oh my goodness, a whole nother video. Let's just say that, okay? Grocery shopping, not just because of them, not because they're tantrums, not because they're autistic. It's because people around us don't understand. And I try to understand where they're coming from, because I didn't know what autism was either. And I remember seeing kids like them in the stores, but I would never, ever, ever, ever judge another parent because of how their child is acting. Because I'm sorry, but what kid have you never seen in Walmart that throws a tantrum over a toy? Like, all kids do that. It's not, you know, it's not normal to see that. So I've never judged a parent because of that. With Isaiah, when he was the only child, I went through it with him, and we had to learn to say night-night to all the toys before we got to the counter. Like, no, he has to go to sleep here. You gotta tell him night-night. We'll see him next time. And he would do it. He'd be like, all right, night-night, see you later. And leave the store. Of course, you can't do that now. Now it's, he wants a Mountain Dew, he wants a candy, he wants a bag of chips. Like, wants everything in the store. Matthew wants every dragon he sees. That's new to him. If it's a different color, he wants it. Aiden, his thing right now is trolls. He likes glittery, sparkly things that sing, and trolls is it. Like, you have a kid that likes music, trolls, tell you, lifesaver. Anywho, back to my list. I'm getting carried away right here. That's what happens when I start talking. Routines. Each kid has their own routine. I have 3 boys. Each one has their own list of things to do before bedtime. I could do that in another video. This video is supposed to be short and simple. Obviously, it's not gonna be. I'm only like 5 bullets in, and I have like 20. So, sorry if you end up clicking out of this, but I hope you watch till the end. Our life is crazy, but it's entertaining, and I have friends, but I don't have many friends that come around a lot. I don't blame them sometimes. Routines. structure building. So structure, therapy, schooling. Gosh, therapy is so important. When you have any kid diagnosed with special needs, it doesn't matter if it's ADD, ADHD, autism, no matter what part of the spectrum they're on, therapy is a lifesaver. If it was not for my boys as therapists, like, I don't even go there. I love them very much. They were a big part of my sanity. Schooling. We've come across some issues. When you have a nonverbal kid, first thing that scares you the most is my kid's not going to be able to tell me if they're mistreating me. My kid's not going to be able to come home and be like, so-and-so said this to me, so-and-so did that to me. And, you know, it's not like that. You got to put your best foot forward. Is that the saying? Oh, well, I don't know the saying. If you know the saying, let me know what it is, because I don't obviously know what it is. Anyways, my two boys have been to 3 schools. They're both in preschool because the last school Matthew was in, he was at a part in his schooling where it was getting close to the end of the year. We were halfway through. They wanted me to push him to kindergarten, and I knew he was not ready for kindergarten. There was no way I was going to set my kid up for failure. He doesn't know the difference between preschool and kindergarten. You know, I'd rather him succeed than throw him in the ocean and hope he can swim. I mean, I didn't want to do it. They weren't giving me no other choice. So I took him out of the school. And because I took Matthew out, I took Aiden out. Not because Aiden was doing bad. He was doing pretty good. For being in the school for the first time, you know, he was doing pretty good. This is the second school they were in. The first school was here on base. They moved the program off base funding, I think. So the new school off base, had trouble with Matthew. When he started the school year, he started saying words. I was like, what? No way. Like, he was doing sounds and saying stuff, and it was very little, maybe like 2-3 words, but he was talking. Finally, 4.5 years old, he was finally talking, and I knew we would take off from there. Like, once he started, we were gonna like take it, because we could, like, our only chance. He loved the bus. He loved going on the school bus. I put my kids on the school bus because it would teach them independence. When I would take them to school, they only wanted me. They didn't want to go to class. They wanted me to stay in class with them, and it was easier for me to put them on the bus where it was fun, and they would get to school and not even think about me by then, you know? It got to where he didn't want to go on the bus no more, and I knew something was wrong. I started fighting him every morning to get on the bus. He used to have to wear a harness on the school bus because he knew how to take the straps off the seatbelt. So they would put this harness on that kind of went over the seat. It was like, I want to say it kind of strapped him to the seat so you can get out, you know? Which was, I felt better about that because my kid wasn't going to be jumping around the bus while it was moving. You know, he'll be safe. That didn't bother him. It wasn't until a month, maybe 2 into the school year, He stopped talking. He didn't want to get on the bus no more. He started acting out so bad. Like, it was getting so bad. He started biting his lip till it bled. He stopped talking. And I knew something was wrong. And when I reached out to the teacher, she swore nothing was wrong. He was perfectly fine in school. He was normal. She didn't understand what was going on. So me and the therapist here at home would try to figure it out, try to teach him, skills to calm down, oh, what's wrong? Try to tell us, use your words. There were good days, there were bad days. We had our first IEP meeting. His IEP was BS. BS, that's all I'm gonna say. At this point, I was tired of it. I didn't want to deal with them anymore. I couldn't. It was driving me insane. I would rather suffer with paying for a private school for my kids than have them mistreated in a classroom with a person that was supposed to be a special ed teacher. Special ed meaning you're going to deal with so many different kinds of IEPs, so many different kids. There's not one way to teach them. There is a bunch of different ways to teach them. If you're going to be a special ed teacher, you need to be prepared for anything. You can't my way or the highway. That's not what a special ed teacher is supposed to be like. That is not what it's supposed to be like. My kid was thriving when he started going to that school, and he shut down. He stopped talking. He didn't want nothing to do with nobody. He would come home crying. He just wanted to be held and hugged and loved. It was, I hate talking about it because it makes me so angry. We took them out of the school, put them in a private school. In private school, they started in January. By March 2020, of course, COVID, the lockdown happened. Lockdown happened a day after Aiden's birthday. He just turned 4. The 3 months they were at this school, they both started talking. The tantrums got better. They loved being with friends. They would play with other kids on the playground. They did classwork. They did projects. Aiden started holding a freaking pencil, which is amazing. This kid doesn't like nothing in his hands. He doesn't like touching things. He didn't like sitting in a chair and eating. Like, they were eating at the table together. They were playing together. And this was something that I never thought would happen because they wanted nothing to do with each other at the other school. They were in 2 different classes, but they didn't like playing with each other. They weren't encouraged to play with each other. They weren't encouraged to play with other kids. They were kind of like, oh, it's recess, go play for 30, 40 minutes while we sit here and watch you run around in circles. This school, they had one-on-ones who would play with them, who would push them on the swings, who would encourage them like, oh, let's go play with so-and-so. Come on, let's go play tag. Come on, run, have fun. Not hate school because it's not fun and all you're going to do is sit in a cubicle by yourself because you need a break every 5 minutes. Or I'm not going to try to figure out why you're having a tantrum. I'm just going to throw you in a corner and let you cry it out. That's how they were treating him. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if they see this video and, oh, that's not how it happened. That's the only thing that happened. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, anytime the teacher would give me updates about him, it was all negative. So negative. Never had anything good to say. Except, oh, he hugged me today, or oh, he held my hand today. It's like, okay, like, How's he doing with tracing his name? How's he doing with his colors? How's he doing with other kids? Like, is he playing with his peers? Like he's a kid. He's gonna love you. You're the only adult around. Like, anyways, enough about the school. Once again, once the lockdown happened, Dad was already deployed in January when they started this new school. So Dad is still deployed at the moment. He is due home in a month, and I'm so excited to see his reaction to how much they've grown. It feels good to like even be excited about it. Like, I don't have to worry about, oh my God, he's gonna come home and be so stressed. Like, the kids screaming and yelling and breaking things, like, they still do it, but they're kids, so it happens. But, you know, they can say, hi, Dad. Hey, Dad, I want to watch Trolls. Or, hey, Dad, can you give me some chocolate milk? Like, it's awesome. It's so awesome. I'm so glad I took my kids out of that school. Goes to show that if your kid can't progress in time, that, you know, my therapist saw it first. I was in denial because I didn't. School was telling me one thing, I trusted them. That was it. The therapist would read over their IEPs and be like, what the heck is this? He doesn't do this. What kind of goal is that? Like, that's not even a goal. That's the same goal he's had for 2. Man, yeah. So, I don't know what else to say. I guess comment below any video ideas you guys want to see next. I'm going to try and do a video every Monday. I say Monday because Mondays are my busiest days, and by the time they're done with therapy, they're like calm like this. This is like the best that it gets, you know, and I just did this for like 30-40 minutes, and he only bothered me like twice. And I got like 2 phone calls and a person out the door. So, yeah, let me know if you have any ideas. If you have questions, I am open to anything. If you have anything negative to say, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care what you think about my parenting. I don't care that you just saw me give my kid chocolate milk. I don't care anybody's opinions, because these are my kids, not yours. So, yeah. You will be blocked. Your comment will be deleted, and I will not respond on it. And if I do, you won't be able to see it because you'll be blocked. Yeah. I can do a video on everything I talked about. I'll do a video each. This list is so long. If you want, I can start with how me and my husband met. I can start with Isaiah meeting my husband for the first time, the adoption process. Actually, I probably won't go into that because I would have to bring other people in the mix, and I don't want to do that. I will never bash anybody except the people who treat my kids bad in this channel, in my stories. I don't care about your feelings because you put me through hell. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna end it with thank you for watching. I hope you guys all have a good day, good week. I will be back on Monday. Maybe I'll even do a video before that. We'll see. I might get bored. I need to figure out this whole video editing thing. If you have any ideas on like apps and stuff I can use, that would be awesome. Because I'm doing it all on my phone right now. I'm doing this channel because I feel like autism's not acknowledged enough. I want my boys to grow up in a world that understands them, not be afraid of them. They are awesome kids. They are so smart. I worry more about my oldest than I do about these two living on their own. So bad. But projects, we can do what they do in ABA, stuff like that. Let me know. Hello. Like and subscribe so you can keep up with me. Yeah. Bye guys.